This is Luckless Lovelocks back with her story, a very unique game that features a nonlinear narrative, and it's basically just a game about a woman talking to the police, and you're trying to figure out her story. To be a bit cheesy. I've played this for about 4 hours already, and I have like 2 pages of notes where I've actually I took handwritten notes and I went through them, and I've tried to put together like a timeline of the story as best I could. I'm not going to go through it all because it's 2 pages, it'll take too long. But suffice it to say, there's a kind of either a multiple personality thing going on here with this woman, or it's twins that are trying to live like a single life. One of their husbands was murdered or has disappeared. I'm pretty sure we know that he's murdered now. There's a lot of confusion about who did it and how it was done. These sisters, or this one person that has multiple personalities, had a really messed up life. I went through and I watched the first part of my videos and identified some other keywords that I'm going to use to search through the footage in this game. And basically the way the game works is you've got all these clips to search through, and you use terms to search through them. And I'm not quite sure what the goal of the game is yet, but I did get an achievement in the last session that basically it said I've watched 50% of the clips. So I guess you could consider that to be a goal, to try to watch all of the footage. Or maybe the goal is just to try to figure out the story for yourself. Also, the last time I played, like the very last session, this person kind of contacted me on chat and said, how's it going down there? Are you done? I said no. And then he said, okay, I'll hang a bit longer. Buzz when you're ready. So maybe we can contact this person and they might ask us questions. Because really the only thing we had to go by in terms of instructions for this game is a couple of readmes, old school 90s style readmes. This explains how to navigate the footage. And this one here is just from this SB person who contacted us through chit chat. Which says, here's the database. We only have one side of the footage, basically just the woman's responses to the questions, and go through it, and then it just says, figure this would be enough, take your time. And we don't really know enough for what. Are we like an investigator? Are we like a reporter? Are we part of the police force? No idea. So yeah, I've got a few more things to look up. The one thing I noticed, actually the first video that I watched, because I've started to get better at figuring out how to find more footage, they showed her a picture, and she identified herself in one of the first pictures, in one of the first clips that I watched. And she mentioned, oh, this is in February, this is several months ago. So I'm gonna look up February. So let's search for that. So there's one other, so we see, this is probably the one, this is like the first thing that we watched, I think.
Yeah, that's me. But February, I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
So, one of the women's name is Hannah, the other one's Eve. And like I said, I'm still not sure if it's the same woman and she's got multiple personalities, or if they're twins. So I've kind of been trying to identify each one of the twins, or by just tagging the videos with either twin 1 or twin 2. And this one I'm not sure of yet. The tattoo and kind of the way that she reacts and her hairstyle leads me to believe it might be Eve, who's like a bit more like outgoing and kind of like a bit like dirtier, for lack of a better word. But it's like I thought I had it down, and then they keep throwing like curveballs at me. This game is like a serious mindfuck. Like I thought I had it figured out, and now I feel like there might even be 3. Like I'm actually at the point where I'm that confused about who's who. There was a point where I was looking through, like they were asking for coffee and stuff like that, and I figured, oh, you know, someone orders coffee, they tend to order the same coffee every time, like black or whatever. So one person, she ordered black coffee one time, or asked for black coffee one time. She asked for coffee with sugar and milk. Then she asked for tea one time. I was just like, oh my god, it's not even consistent. That's not even consistent. So this is like this game is like a serious mindfuck. I'm gonna go with I think so. I'm calling Eve Twin 2 and I'm calling Hannah Twin 1 because I wanted to create my own tag for them so that I could then search, you know, Twin 1 or Twin 2 along with other tag search terms if I wanted to like get like one of their takes on a particular topic or whatever. And I put Simon victim picture. I don't know why I wrote that. This is more like Eve. I'm gonna rate Hannah because I think the other thing is like they're often pretending to be each other. So Eve is trying to pretend to be Hannah. Hannah is trying to pretend to be Eve. So it could be, this could be Eve pretending that she's Hannah. Hannah definitely doesn't seem to admit that Eve exists, but I think we've seen a lot of evidence showing that Eve fully admits that Hannah exists. So yeah. Although Hannah did say that she had a friend named Eve that she almost drowned when they were younger, and because she was jealous of her because she was better at getting men interested in her and she was more outgoing. But she never said it's like a twin sister or, you know, something like that. Anyways, carrying on. Let's see this new one.
Well, I don't know. I probably had to pop out and get something, that's why I was speeding. And that wouldn't have been noted on my timesheet. But I really can't remember back to February.
Timesheet. So that must have been a picture of her speeding. So like, basically the murder or the disappearance, the murder happened like around June 17th, we're figuring. Somewhere between like June 17th and June 18th. Speeding. So maybe this is like a red light camera caught her speeding. And maybe it was when she was trying to travel to, when she was driving to Glasgow. Is there anything else?
Well,
Go on.
I don't know. I probably had to pop out and get something, that's why I was speeding. And that wouldn't have been noted on my timesheet. But I really can't remember back to February.
So let's look up timesheet. Oh, and this I'm saying is Eve. And I actually think there's a point in this footage where Eve switches to Hannah. I can't confirm it. Okay, that's it. Fuck. Speeding. Okay, there's more.
You must be desperate for leads if you're getting hung up over 6-month-old speeding tickets.
Okay. So when you add your own tags to things, you can then use those tags for searches. So if I type in ticket, that'll show up. Otherwise, it's keying off all the dialogue in the game. And sometimes it'll only show you 5 entries at a time. If there's more than 5, it'll say there's more than 5, but it'll only show you 5. So you've got to figure out a way to like hone in on those other clips if you want to see them.
I remember the ticket, of course. I paid it without telling Simon. Didn't want to get told off. And they put points on the license.
Oh, okay. She's got points on her license. Grab another sheet of paper here. So let's keep going down this path. Because there's a lot of this part where they're showing her pictures that I haven't been able to find. Points. What's this? Diary.
When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
Oh, right. Okay, so she crossed the street. Right. She crossed the street back over to Hannah's place herself. Let's just look. There's more about this diary. And also, this I'm pretty sure is Eve.
Fine. I've never had my fingerprints taken before. I once put my hand on the oven.
Fingerprints. Yeah, I don't know which one this is. Is that one word? Fingerprints. Wow, okay, there's lots here. Awesome.
Fingerprints.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I would have cleaned them. I changed the sheets too. With the fingerprints in all those places.
So she's probably talking about cleaning up the house after the investigators canvassed it for evidence. And I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be Hannah, but it could be Eve pretending to be Hannah.
Could they have been my parents' fingerprints? I'm not sure how long they last for, but is that possible?
So I guess they found other people's fingerprints at the scene of the crime. At her house, but I mean that's not that strange.
Really? Go on then. Take the cup. Run your fingerprints. They'll match. Fucking do it.
See, this doesn't seem like Hannah to me. So let's look up. Let's look up the matched fingerprints. Match. No, match. Suspect. Ah.
When you suspect someone of murdering their husband. Okay. So you want to eliminate me as a suspect?
Okay.
That should eliminate me as a suspect. If I was in Glasgow, can't be in two places at once.
You can't be. Two places at once. I'm gonna look up that.
This is the third day running you've called me in. I speak to Doug and Eleanor every day. And they say you've been asking a lot of questions. About me.
Questions.
Should I be worried? Am I a suspect?
So that was on July 2nd. And then, but on June 27th,
Okay. So you want to eliminate me as a suspect?
they already like kind of going down this road of, I think this is probably Eve. Am I a suspect? Am I a suspect? She would have already known that they were looking at her as a suspect unless it's a different
This is
person.
the third day running you've called me in. I speak to Doug and Eleanor every day. And they say you've been asking a lot of questions. About me. Should I be worried? Am I a suspect?
Questions. Exactly 5 entries.
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday.
Oh, okay. That's on July 1st. I just want to see cheated. Five entries. Okay.
Rehearsed? You ask me the same question, you'll get the same answer. Is that your evidence? Of course I thought about what happened then. It's all I've thought about. My husband is dead.
She sounds so like ungenuine there. Like,
Rehearsed? You ask me the same question, you'll get the same answer. Is that your evidence? Of course I thought about what happened then. It's all I've thought about. My husband is dead.
Yeah. It's like fake sympathy. How much later is this? It's like a minute later, so it's not right after.
Twins? Really? Oh. Are you really asking me that question?
Oh. Okay, twins. That's a new one. That's the first time I haven't even looked up that word yet, I think, twins. I looked up all kinds of stuff around like multiple personality disorder, but not twins. Okay.
My name? That was the only question I failed. Your lie detector works.
That's right. She did a lie detector. Also, okay. We're getting places now. I got a few terms. I got a few things to look up. Lots of things actually. Twin. Boom.
Are you out of your mind? Twins?
So that's gotta follow right after that, right? Yeah. So it's like
twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question? Are you out of your mind? Twins? There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
Divorce. Yeah, it's not the first time we've heard about princesses in the game. Rapunzel is kind of one that pops out as well. A lot of fantasy going on here, but I mean that's common in kids, so it's not that strange or memorable. But this concept of divorce as well, because I mean that's what Princess Diana is. Other than her suspicious death, there's kind of this her divorce is like kind of the biggest story about her. So lots of stuff here, lots of stuff. Let's look up So it's twins. So what I'm doing is I'm writing down things to search, and then if I search for them, I just check them off. But the game also keeps track of all the things you search for. You can go back and you could probably even combine some of these things as well. Lie detector. There we go, she's hooked up to it there.
Yes, I'll take a lie detector test. I've never taken a lie detector test before. Does it really work?
Lie. Let's just look up lie. Name. One I haven't seen. So see, here is where I found 7 entries, but it limits you to 5.
Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room. Had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic. I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
She didn't want her to have a symmetrical name like she does. That's one of the things that was mentioned in one of the earlier videos, that her name's a palindrome. So it's the same said forward as backwards. But she also mentioned that if you put it in a mirror, it doesn't look the same. And mirrors are an important symbol in this so far. Especially the idea of looking in a mirror and not seeing the same reflection back as what you would, as what you should see. So the gift that Simon gave her was an antique mirror, so didn't give a perfect reflection. Kind of in the same way that these two women are not perfect reflections of each other. I
would have been a good mother.
Good mother. So, we looked up lie detector. We didn't really get much aside from, I'm going to take a lie detector test. So let's try this rehearsed. Rehearse. No. Okay, so I'm going to go back because I think I've... Okay, so there's princess and divorce. Let's try those. A couple more.
Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember, well, I went over the river. And then there was a church. There. Yeah. And I probably... Well, I remember seeing a street sign called Princess Street. Yep, there it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There.
Princess Street. Okay. I think she's talking about when she was driving to Glasgow. Probably trying to figure out the route that she took. That's something to look up.
We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
Fairy tales. Diana. Okay, just the two. So let's look up divorce. I bet you were gonna find some stuff about Simon and Hannah possibly divorcing as well. Nope. Oh, okay. I'm gonna look up route because they seem to be asking her about what route she took to get to Glasgow. No. Path. Street. Eight entries. Princess Street. Just the one. Okay. What's that? Direction? Directions, maybe? Okay. So I want to look up wrong person. Because this has come up a couple of times. So if there's one here I haven't seen yet.
No! You're talking to the wrong person if you think I'm some kind of slut. If you think I'm the kind of person that would have had sex with all those guys.
Okay. So one of the tough parts is like you want to try to search for things that she would be saying as opposed to like questions that she would be asked, although she does repeat stuff from the questions in her answers. Wow, okay. 9 entries.
Really? You're going to ask me about my sex life? I mean, isn't that private? Are you married? How is your sex life?
Fair enough. So I asked about her sex life.
So, Our sex life is probably fairly average for a couple after 10 years of marriage.
So they've been married for 10 years. Right. That's, I should have been able to guess that, because in 1984, that's when she lost the baby, so that would have been when they got married, and this is 94. Let's see if we can get more of the sex life stuff. There's only 3. I wish you could do not do this sex, not life. So I could get rid of these 3 and see the rest of them. I'm gonna look up anniversary again. There's one. Okay. 10 years. Okay, cool.
When you've been married for 10 years, stuff accumulates. You could argue about anything. And he's so nice. That doesn't help. He tries to smooth things over, and that just makes it worse. We're both passive-aggressive, so we never normally argue directly about anything.
That hits close to home. It just doesn't seem like a woman that could kill her husband.
Good. Happy. I mean, ups and downs like any couple, I guess, but we've been married for over 10 years.
Seems like a different woman, I swear. I think this is probably Eve. Ups and downs. Relationship. I already looked that one up, I'm sure. Marriage. I already looked that. Well, not. Oh! Wow.
After the kiss, the next time, he took me back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing.
Ha. So Simon... She must be talking about Simon. It's important. Simon wanted to get caught. To prove... they are different people. It's really interesting, this
After
one.
the kiss, the next time
They got
he
together
took me
again.
back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing.
Different. She's mentioned this a few times, how describing how her and her sister or whatever are different, but I never actually looked it up. 8 entries. I haven't seen this one yet.
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do, to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I know it was stupid not to tell you everything.
She's nervous.
Saying I spent the night in
Tragedies.
Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's...
So, missing. That's a good one to look up. Missing. This one I'm not sure of, whether it's twin 1 or twin 2. Hannah or Eve. Different women. Different people. There's 8 things here under different, so I want to try to get the other 3. Different lives. Difference.
Mum and Dad never knew what was going on. We got so good at it. We were so in sync that we'd use each other to cheat. If one of us had a hangover, the other one would go to school. Whoever was best at a subject would sit the exam. There were lots of differences between us. Some things one is better than the other at.
Interesting. Better. Bitter. 5, okay. Okay, caught. Catch. Nope. Fairy tales. Yeah.
Sorry. The picture, the way it's drawn, just reminded me of the books we used to read as children.
She's talking about
I read those
Rapunzel.
fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite. My brain is just full of it. How many of these in colour?
What pictures is she looking at there? I wish I could see them. Oh man. I really wish I could see those pictures.
And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends, and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
Yeah. Fairy tale prince. So that's something Prince. I don't think I looked up Prince yet. So we get this the symbolism of the fairy tales, or the allusions to the fairy tales, especially Rapunzel.
Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale.
Nope.
You do what you can. Fairy tales. Stories about lost princesses, evil witches, magical mirrors, and lost children. So you see, even before I knew the truth, I'd found it in those stories.
This brings up mirrors again, which is interesting.
Fairy tales.
Magical mirrors, lost children. She's kind of like a lost child.
There's lost children.
So
you see,
Simon's killed with a
even
mirror.
Before I knew the truth, I'd found it in those stories.
The truth. I don't think I've looked up that one either. Truth in the fairy tales. Interesting. Missing. Not really interesting. Let's look up Prince, since she describes Simon as a prince.
I don't know if anyone really changes. You just become more yourself. Simon was my prince, and that hasn't changed.
God, I can't tell which one this is. It seems more and more like Hannah. Evil. Let's see what we can get with this. Yeah, I figured. Truth. I think this is gonna come up with some results. No? Okay. Change. Already seen these.
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope.
Alright, so I've actually gone through a lot of things 2 places at once. Two places. Okay. This I think is 22, I think.
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay.
Where did this guitar come from? That's the one thing I haven't figured out yet.
Traditional ballad. Should be right up your street.
I think I've already heard the whole song, but I don't understand how this guitar just all of a sudden popped in to the interview.
There were two sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Out comes the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swan. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
The rest of the song is really weird. She starts talking about like pushing her sister like into the like drowning her sister and stuff like that. Right, so 2 places. I don't think I did this yet, guitar. Because they got to explain where this fucking guitar just shows up from.
No. No, Simon didn't play guitar. He wasn't very musical.
Simon didn't play the guitar.
He liked to listen, but he was tone deaf.
Tone deaf. Interesting. Play guitar.
Yes. Yeah, it's my guitar.
Or guitar. What does the guitar have to do? I don't. For the life of me, I cannot find the beginning of this segment where the part where they bring out this guitar. Play. You know what? They did mention I think it was Eve, probably Eve, that mentioned that she was a performer. Performance. No, show.
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job, but he didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
Friday to Saturday. Okay, we haven't seen this one yet.
He saw me singing one of my shows. Pure chance.
Ah.
Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was. But he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I was talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
So Simon was seeing things in Eve that she saw the same like physical woman, but saw like things in her personality or the way that she acted that he didn't see in Hannah. It's interesting that Eve is also a palindrome, like Hannah. Also doesn't look the same when you look at it in a mirror. And tattoo. So the tattoo is Eve. The tattooed woman is Eve for sure. And we've got Simon. This is important. So let's look up tattoo. This is gonna give us some shit. Yeah.
No, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar down here near his stomach,
Oh.
past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
So you need some to see TV or
No,
not books?
properly.
So there was talk about the glasses when they talked about finding the body. He wasn't wearing his glasses, and he takes them off for photos. That's interesting. paper. He's got a scar. That's something we can look up. He didn't have tattoos, though. So I assume she's going to talk about her tattoo here a bit more. We heard a bit earlier, but we haven't heard the full explanation yet.
My tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake.
Eve, yeah. Expressing my individuality, I just got another achievement. I'm just curious. What is that for? It's a snake and an apple. Okay. That's really cool. You get the achievements for the strangest things. Like I got an achievement for hearing the entire song that she plays.
Oh, my tattoo.
Okay.
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
Interesting. No roots. That's interesting. So she moved out. This is quite a bit later. So this is July 3rd, and this seems to be the last interview of the bunch, and this seems to be the most genuine interview. It's like straight up you're hearing like the truth from Eve. And it's, I don't know, maybe Hannah's like gone by this point, if they're one, like if it's a multiple personality thing, like she's totally taken over because Simon is dead. She's singing at bars, and no roots doesn't exist. So she, you know, when she was like living with Hannah, she was always in the attic, kind of like shut away into a corner. When she was separated from Hannah and growing up with Florence, Florence shut her in the house until Florence died. Max tripped down the stairs. Actually, that's a good point. I should look up that. Also tripped down stairs. So now she's finally got her own identity. Thing is, what happened to Hannah at this point? Because I haven't seen an interview with Hannah on really, like, all of her stuff is earlier, like in mid-July, or sorry, mid-June, and then this seems to be the stuff with Strictly Eve seems to be beginning of July. Okay, cool. So we got tattoo. Let's look up I want to look up moved out. No. The scar. Just the one. Bar. Okay. So there's more about the bar that Eve was playing at, probably, and that Simon met her at.
Are you sure? what would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference? I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
Oxford. Haha, okay. So we know this is Eve now. And a conference as well. So he used to go to conferences or something? Probably for his glass mirror making conferences. I don't know. Is there such a thing?
Nothing else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye. Then next week I was singing the bar again, and there he was. And again the next week. He offered to buy me a meal. I told him I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye, he asked me to kiss him. Romantic.
Beach. We got another achievement, romantic. So this, let me just watch these ones. So she was on her own singing at bars. She had no roots to exist. Simon met her, saw the tattoo on her name. He's performing. Then we see that she ends up going out on like a date with him. They have a romantic night on a beach, and that's, what's that at? 11:55, 16 and 32 seconds. That puts that at like 11:55 and already 48, so 52. So that's not, yeah, it's quite a few minutes afterwards. We're probably missing another clip in between.
No. I told her it was one of my boyfriends, someone I had met in the bar. I think she was happy. But I could tell she was thinking, why couldn't it happen to her and Simon? They were the ones with the real life. Why not them?
And it was Simon. Jesus. Interesting.
Yeah. They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me, I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed. And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck.
So she doesn't have a tattoo that I can see, so this has got to be Hannah. And she's referring to her parents dying. They died of food poisoning. Apparently they ate some mushrooms that were poisonous, even though her father grew mushrooms and knew tons about them. So it's very suspicious how they died, but I still haven't gotten either one of them to kind of admit that they were the killers, but it's likely that they were just poisoned by someone. Got it right here. For days. And so she had a miscarriage that same year as well. all this bad stuff happened to Hannah. Wow, I haven't even searched for that.
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents.
Seems like that's what she said before. 21.
No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.
Okay, so miscarried at 8 months, and then Simon's parents. Lost the baby. Miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, only a few months after. What was a few months after?
Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after the miscarriage because of complications.
After the miscarriage. So, but we've learned already that one of them got pregnant. She's having morning sickness. She actually vomited on camera, not in front of the camera. She ran off the camera, off screen to throw up.
Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course.
She's happy about that.
We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Derek had given him a full-time position after he left school. And
then see a picture of Simon popping up. Universe correct itself. She's referring to the fact that she tried to get pregnant herself, Eve did, and she wasn't able to. That's what she's saying, the universe corrected itself. Alright guys, I'm going to take a bit of a break. Some stuff I need to do, but I'll be back in maybe like 15 minutes. I'm going to keep the stream running. I'm just going to cut to my break screen. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, you're watching this on YouTube, then please subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying it. You can follow me on Twitch, Twitch TV/Luckless Lovelocks. Twitter is at Andrew Erdeg, that's ERDEG. And YouTube is youtube.com/Andrew Erdeg. I'll be back later. Thanks a lot, guys.